Welcome back to the deep dive. We are pushing forward with our really intense look at Oliver Klacik's album, A Night on the Earth.
And if you've been following along, we just hit this huge moment, this peak in the story the album's telling.
Yeah, a really hard-won emotional high point, it felt like. For a minute there, it seemed the narrator had finally broken free from that cycle of betrayal and just waiting.
That was track 3, Now I Know. And it was crucial. Remember, we came from track 1, Yes I Know, which was all about that raw betrayal.
Right.
Then track 2, Laughing in the Rain, that was 6 months of this agonizing wait, crying in the vein.
Mm-hmm.
And then track 3 achieved something genuinely profound. It felt like mutual certainty, real emotional resolution.
That repetition, but now I know, it just hammered home this new reality, didn't it? Grounded in, like, the physical presence of the partner.
Exactly. Tangible.
The darkness seemed to lift. The sources we looked at said touching the partner's lips brought the brightness of a dawn. It felt like, okay, maybe the core trauma was faced, fought, maybe even overcome.
It was a release. Definitely a moment where you, the listener, could sort of exhale and think, okay, this is it. A permanent shift towards clarity.
And then, bam, track 4 hits you right between the eyes. 3 Million Mile.
Yeah.
Even just the title. Before a single note plays, something's fundamentally changed. 3 million miles.
Yeah.
It just screams. Distance, separation.
Cosmic distance, almost. It feels like it's designed to rip apart that closeness, that certainty we just found in track 3.
So that's what we're diving into today, this huge, devastating shift.
Our mission, really, is to figure out, could that fragile certainty, that hard-won sense of mutual love, actually survive being separated?
Or has this distance just sent the narrator spiraling right back into that isolation, that pain we saw at the start of the album?
And the source material gives us a pretty big clue. It confirms the song was actually written back in 1997.
Ah, okay.
And its focus was explicitly on feelings of betrayal and the loneliness felt by someone who feels left, who feels all alone.
So it's not really a question of if the certainty is challenged. It sounds more like how badly does it get shattered.
That's the core of it. Yeah, the first big shock with track 4 is just how jarring it feels. Chronologically and emotionally, we were just there, in that moment of psychological release in track 3.
That feeling of being anchored, yeah.
And track 4 immediately throws us back into that familiar, almost cyclical pain, betrayal, isolation. It makes you wonder if the victory in track 3 was it real or just temporary?
It's like emotional whiplash, isn't it? And it forces you as a listener to kind of reconsider track 3 entirely.
Exactly.
Was that resolution genuine, or was it just, totally dependent on them being physically together?
That's a critical point, because if separation instantly makes the narrator revert to feeling betrayed again, it suggests the foundation, the trust, was never really fixed. It was just sort of papered over for a moment.
Right. So maybe the album isn't saying love conquers all. Maybe it's saying the fight against betrayal, against loneliness, it's an ongoing thing, a cycle.
And distance is the trigger, the ultimate trigger for falling back.
The second the anchor of physical presence is gone, he just drifts right back to those desolate shores we heard about in track 1.
That's a good way to put it. And the music itself, the architecture of the song, it absolutely confirms this descent.
How so?
Well, the sources call it a jazzy blues rock song. Some even list it specifically as a blues ballad.
Okay, so a shift from the more determined rock sound we heard earlier.
Definitely. We're moving away from that energy, that fight for truth, into something much more resigned, sorrowful, bluesy.
But here's a fascinating detail the sources point out: the time signature. It's 68 time.
Ah, okay. We've heard that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same time signature as track 1, Yes I Know.
Yeah.
The song that first laid out all that trauma, the accusation of betrayal.
That 68 signature is so important. It gives it that heavy, swaying feel, like a burden or a slow, painful march. It's almost funereal sometimes.
So structurally, it ties track 4 right back to track 1. It
Yeah.
connects this current feeling of isolation to the original wound.
It's like a recurring theme, that 68 melancholy. But there's a crucial difference noted in the source material.
Which is?
While it shares the rhythm with the sort of angry accusation in track 1, here in track 4, it is more blues than rock.
More blues than rock. Okay, so what does that distinction tell us?
I think it's profound. Track 1, Yes I Know, had that anger, that bite, the fury over being lied to.
Yeah.
Track 4, being more blues, feels different. It's characterized by this weary lament, resignation, maybe even a kind of fatalism, an acceptance of the situation.
So it's the difference between fighting against your circumstances and just documenting how heavy they feel.
Precisely. The fight seems to have gone out of him, that energy that drove him to demand certainty, and now I know. It feels like it's been replaced by the kind of exhausted fatalism you often hear in the blues.
So the structure alone is telling us his psychological state has just collapsed.
I think so. It signals that this despair might be deeper, maybe more definitive than what we heard before. He's sinking back into the rhythm of his original pain.
But now he knows something he didn't before.
Yeah. He knows that even finding the truth, even getting that moment of certainty in track 3, didn't actually save him from being alone again.
Okay, so the music sets this weary, bluesy 68 mood. And then the lyrics immediately hit us with the sheer scale of his isolation. 3 million miles.
That number. It's not meant to be literal, is it? It feels astronomical, symbolic.
Yeah, like it represents an absolute insurmountable distance. It wouldn't matter if it was 10 miles or 3 million. The emotional gap feels infinite.
It sets the stage for total isolation, something beyond just, geographical separation.
And that isolation gets defined immediately in one of the most striking opening lines I think we've seen on the album. Just standing here, 3 million miles east of nothing.
East of nothing. Let's just pause on that for a second. Nothing is the reference point. Right.
Think about what that means. Normally, you're east of something, a city, a landmark, a border, something with substance.
But if your only marker is nothing?
It means you've lost all meaningful reference points. You're completely unmoored, geographically, existentially, totally directionless.
He's not just lost from his partner. He's lost from, meaning itself.
And later in the song, he's west of nothing. It reinforces that sense of moving across an empty void. There's no real home, no destination, certainly no shared path anymore.
And this void, this emptiness, it triggers this deep self-questioning. It's not just physical loneliness, it's a crisis of identity, he asks.
I am trying to find out where I've gone and why I am still all alone waiting for a dawn to come and take me to my home.
Where I've gone. That's not just about location, is it? It feels deeper.
Much deeper. It's like the relationship wasn't just a place to be, it was the map itself. Losing the partner means losing his own coordinates, emotionally and geographically. He's questioning his whole life's direction since the abandonment. And that search is tied to this painful waiting. Waiting for a dawn to come.
Ah, yes, the dawn. That's a crucial link, isn't it? Back to track 3.
Absolutely. We need to remember what dawn meant just one track ago.
And now I know. The dawn was there. It was immediate. He felt the brightness of a dawn just by touching his partner's lips. Dawn was the certainty, the hope made real.
But here, in track 4,
the dawn is painfully absent. It's not happening now. It's something he's waiting for, hoping it will come and rescue him, take me to my home.
So the light of certainty we saw in track 3, extinguished by these 3 million miles.
Completely. The isolation isn't just back, it's plunged him into this perpetual night. He's stuck back in that limbo of waiting, that same kind of waiting we heard about in track 2.
It's brutally effective. The geography becomes internal, doesn't it? The 3 million miles is the distance between feeling sure in track 3 and feeling abandoned now.
And even though the scale feels cosmic, the engine driving it all is just simple, painful loneliness. That huge distance is just how absolutely alone he feels, manifested. So after establishing that disorientation, that vast emptiness, the narrator makes this core statement about his suffering. And what's really striking isn't just the pain itself, but the grim acceptance of it.
You mean this part? It is hard out here with all this pain I feel, but I'll get used to this because this is all there is.
Yeah,
this is all I've got. All those miles failing at every curve.
exactly that.
Wow. Okay, my first reaction is just, this is profound defeat. He's basically saying, pain is my reality now, and I just have to live with it. That's a total U-turn from the fight we heard earlier.
It definitely signals defeat, but maybe, let's push on that slightly, could I'll get used to this be seen as a kind of stoicism, a survival tactic? Is he saying, I accept this, I'll endure, or is it more like, I'm too tired to fight, so I give up?
Interesting question. But given the context of the album, especially what follows, I lean towards the second one, submission. Because if he were finding some kind of stoic strength, would he immediately follow it with failing at every curve? That image suggests constant, unavoidable failure.
Good point.
It implies the journey itself, trying to move forward across those miles, is inherently pointless. Every time he tries to turn a corner towards something better, he fails.
Yeah, that interpretation holds up. The miles aren't just distance. They represent the struggle, the attempt at recovery, and that journey is actively working against him.
So the resignation, this is all there is, feels like a complete collapse of hope. The journey has become this endless looping road to nowhere.
A pointless highway to nowhere.
Yeah, and this feeling immediately connects back to the source of the trauma. This isn't just vague existential angst. It's specific relationship pain, he says. And the worst thing is, I often think of you, where were we going to see? Why did you turn away, leaving me on our way?
Ah, that line, leaving me on our way. That's the smoking gun, isn't it?
It really is. It confirms the pain driving this isolation isn't just missing someone. It's the specific wound of being abandoned mid-journey.
Right. It takes us straight back to the betrayal from track one, but now it's amplified by all this distance and time.
It really reframes the whole song. He's not just a guy who's alone. He's a guy who was deliberately left behind on a trip they were meant to be taking together.
The betrayal wasn't just the end of the relationship. It was the betrayal of the shared future, the shared map they were following.
And the psychological impact of being abandoned like that,
Yeah.
it escalates immediately.
Now I'm lost in hell, and there is no one here to point the way.
Lost. That word is the polar opposite of no from track 3, isn't it?
Absolutely. The clarity, the direction, the certainty, all gone. He's completely disoriented, geographically where I've gone, and emotionally lost in hell.
How does this hell compare to the one he mentioned back in track 2, Laughing in the Rain?
That's a great comparison. In track 2, he was burning in my hell because of the uncertainty of waiting for the late train. He was desperate for the partner to arrive.
Okay.
Here, in track 4, the hell seems caused by the certainty of absence, by total abandonment. He knows she's not coming back to find him here.
So the hell in track 2 was intense, but maybe temporary, still fueled by a sliver of hope for arrival.
Right. Whereas the hell in track 4 feels pervasive, maybe permanent, defined by the knowledge that arrival isn't happening, and crucially, no one here to point the way.
The very connection that gave him certainty in track 3 has vanished, leaving him utterly alone and directionless in this suffering.
And that lack of guidance, the absence of the person who was supposed to be his co-pilot on this journey, it forces him into an internal battle, a battle he seems to be losing badly.
And the song's structure seems to really hammer home this sense of being trapped, this cyclical defeat, that the second stanza flips the geography, but the feeling is the same.
Just waiting here, 3 million miles west of nothing.
Yeah, from east to west, but still orbiting nothing. It emphasizes how pointless his movement is. But you also noted this shift in action.
Right. He goes from standing in the first stanza, which might imply a brief pause, maybe contemplation, to waiting.
Waiting. That word just echoes throughout this album, doesn't it? It takes us right back to that awful, protracted limbo in track 2.
He's back there, defined by indefinite delay. But this time, the scale is cosmic. He's waiting 3 million miles away from any sense of purpose or hope.
And this state, the external distance, the internal emptiness, it triggers this intense psychological fight. He admits it directly.
I am fighting all those ghosts I have in life, but it seems they're winning this one fight. I am losing all tonight. I'm just a shadow of a light.
Okay, ghosts. What are these ghosts, do you think? If we see the album as this psychological journey.
I think they have to be the manifestations of his past trauma, right? The stuff that hasn't healed.
Mm-hmm.
The memory of the deceit from track 1. The agony of waiting in track 2. And maybe the self-doubt that's creeping in now, realizing that the certainty he felt in track 3 was so easily broken.
They're the inner demons born from feeling abandoned.
Exactly. And the confession, it seems they're winning this one fight that's just devastating. It's an admission of total psychological defeat.
The energy, the defiance we saw glimpses of earlier, it's gone. This isn't just a bad night. It feels like a full-blown regression. His inner world is being consumed by these past failures.
Yeah, he's moved past defiance into real vulnerability. And the consequence of losing that fight, it's captured in that incredibly stark image.
I'm just a shadow of a light.
What does that image say to you?
It feels like a complete hollowing out. A shadow needs light to exist, but it has none of the light's substance or warmth. He's saying his entire identity, his spark, was so tied to the relationship, that the light, that without it, he's just an outline, a faint trace of who he was.
That's a powerful reading. His vitality, his essence, gone.
It connects right back to that earlier question, where I've gone. He hasn't gone anywhere meaningful. He's just shrunk. The weight of the distance, the abandonment, has crushed him into this non-entity, unable to generate his own light anymore.
The brightness of a dawn he found in track 3 isn't just missing now. It's so far removed that only its shadow lingers with him. It's an admission of complete emotional bankruptcy, an identity crisis driven by loss. So Having painted this picture of profound defeat, isolation, being just a shadow, the song does something really interesting. It turns inward and questions its own existence.
Yeah, this meta-commentary part. It repeats in both stanzas, which tells you how important it is to him. What is this song about? Why all this pain tonight? Just what is so wrong with my life? Why do you never come? Why am I still alone? And singing about 3 million miles of nothing.
He's literally stepping outside the narrative and asking, why am I even singing this? What's the point?
It's like he's questioning the whole purpose of expressing this misery if it doesn't change anything, if it doesn't bring her back, if it doesn't fix his life.
It feels like the ultimate realization of futility, doesn't it? He's so caught in this loop, distance, pain, doubt, that he even doubts the value of the song itself. Does articulating the pain help, or does it just remind him how stuck he is?
Let's link that futility back. Track 1's pain was about being deceived. Track 2's pain was about futile effort. Remember crying in the vein?
Right. Wasted effort, wasted emotion.
Track 4 takes it a step further. Now the pain is about the futility of expression itself. Singing about the loneliness doesn't make him less lonely. It just reinforces that he's still 3 million miles west of nothing. So maybe the song itself is pointless.
That seems to be his conclusion. The act of singing doesn't bridge the distance. It doesn't summon the partner. It just documents the chronic, unchanging nature of the suffering.
And notice how he sums up the subject matter, singing about 3 million miles of nothing.
Yeah. That's brutal.
All that distance, the separation, the entire emotional ordeal, he dismisses it all as nothing. It wasn't some grand tragic journey. It was just a vast, meaningless void, an empty expenditure of feeling.
So the song's title, 3 Million Miles, stops being just a measure of distance. It becomes the name for this state of endless, pointless emotional separation. It's a diagnosis.
A diagnosis of a condition, journeying towards nothing.
Exactly.
And yet, even as his mind is making this intellectual critique, saying the song is about nothing, look at the questions embedded right there. Why do you never come? Why am I still alone?
Yeah, the raw emotion underneath it all.
Even as he dismisses the whole thing as futile, his heart is still screaming for connection, still demanding she come back, still asking why he has to be alone.
It's the core tragedy of the album, perhaps. The rational mind sees the futility, sees the regression, sees the abandonment clearly. But the emotional core, still trapped, still waiting for that dawn that isn't coming, still needing the presence that won't arrive.
The trap is absolute. Intellectually, he knows it's hopeless. Emotionally, he can't let go. Hashtag tag outro. So, wrapping up this deep dive into 3 million miles, it paints a truly devastating picture, doesn't it? We see the narrator just crushed, trapped in this loop.
Yeah, the external distance triggers the memory of abandonment. That leads to fighting those internal ghosts, and finally doubting the point of even feeling the pain. That certainty from track 3, it feels incredibly fragile in hindsight.
It really does. The key takeaway seems to be that external pressures, especially separation mixed with unresolved betrayal, can just instantly unravel any internal security you thought you had.
The ghosts are always waiting, apparently, right below the surface, ready to emerge the moment the partner is gone.
Okay, so let's leave you, our listener, with a final thought. Something to connect this raw, emotional song from 1997 to our world today.
Right. The narrator feels 3 million miles away, lost in a metaphorical hell, fighting ghosts, unable to find home. But today, well, we live in a world where physical distance feels almost meaningless sometimes, right?
Yeah. Instant messaging, video calls, GPS, you can know exactly where someone is in seconds.
So does this song suggest that true emotional distance, that feeling of being 3 million miles apart, has absolutely nothing to do with technology or actual geography?
That it's purely psychological, relational.
I think it profoundly suggests that. Being lost in hell might only require the perceived absence of commitment from one specific person. If you feel left on our way, the distance becomes infinite. It doesn't matter how good your phone signal is.
So emotional proximity isn't about connectivity. It's about shared meaning, shared journey, commitment.
That seems to be the argument here.
Okay. So having hit this absolute rock bottom, this declaration of futility, defeat, being lost in nothingness, where can the album possibly go next? Does he just fade into that shadow?
Well, the track list signals another huge shift is coming. A necessary one, maybe. Next up is track 5, Song for You.
Song for You.
And the description is intriguing. A piano duet. That's a complete change from the heavy, resigned blues of 3 million miles. It suggests something softer, maybe more structured, definitely more intimate.
A piano duet. Okay. That transition feels critical. After saying he's utterly alone, defeated, and that even singing about it is pointless, now he writes a song for the person who's absent.
That's the big question for our next deep dive. What form does that take? Is it still romantic? Is it a last desperate plea across those 3 million miles? Or is it something else entirely, a way of saying goodbye, maybe finding a more constructive way to channel the emotion?
Will a duet structure allow him to find some kind of dialogue, even if only musically? Or will the isolation just echo between the piano parts?
We'll find out when we unpack Song for You.
Definitely looking forward to that. We will explore that pivotal shift next time. Until then, keep digging.